Hello everyone and welcome to Failing Better, a self-improvement comedy podcast with me, Jonny Pelham, and
me, Sean McLaughlin, already off to a weird start.
And together we are Failing Better. That was the worst one, wasn't it?
D-, I think, the score for that. That was a D-.
I felt I was really happy with how I said my name, and then I forgot to say and then you, because I didn't say and, then you tried to say and, but then I got too cocky after saying my own name, Sean. That's what happened there.
Should we repeat it now for the listeners with our? Would you be? I mean, should we play the clip back, knowing now what we know? And maybe they can hit. Well, I guess listen to it back, listeners. You now know where Jonny went wrong. I went wrong because I sort of just totally forgot how to speak.
It wasn't an ideal start, but I think I'll take main responsibility for that, because we always say our name and then and then I was so pleased with how I said my own name that I let the team down, really.
Look, Jonny, you need to stop beating yourself up. You're ill. Okay, you're ill. It's a miracle you're even working today, but such is your commitment to this pod that you're ploughing through it. Do you want to tell the listeners what's been going on? Anything in particular happening?
I'm very ill, listeners. Well, very ill. I am ill. Last night suddenly I just started getting really like shivery, and then I tried to go for a little fart, ended up shitting myself. It was just a little toot. I just thought, I'll just do a little toot, and then there was shit clearly coming out of my anus. Which was a shame.
We know where shit comes from, Jonny.
Yeah, I just thought I'd clarify if anyone wasn't aware of what shitting yourself means. And then now I'm sat with my heart rate's going so much that I'm sat down and my Fitbit thinks I'm doing exercise. So you get like a score based on when you're like your heart's going quick enough to be doing more than some exercise, and it's going up by the minute. So currently it's saying I've done 122 zone minutes when I've done nothing today. Okay.
Well, there's a hell of a lot to unpack there, Jonny. First thing I'd say is keep those 5-star reviews coming in, listeners. You've got to keep them in. Please keep supporting the Patreon. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this shitting yourself incident.
Yeah.
How big was the toot, and how extensive was the aftermath? And where were you?
I was in my bed. It was a little.
You were in your
fart,
bed,
and it was a little poo. I would not even know if I'd class. It was a bit suddenly. I wouldn't say any made it to my pajamas, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But it was just a little fleck of poo popped out to say hello.
Did you get out of bed?
Yeah, I'm not an animal. I didn't just lie in my shit. It was quite a shaming moment of my life. But I just thought, well, I'm ill, and when you're ill, you sometimes shit yourself.
Yeah. That happened to me when I broke my arm.
Yeah.
I kept shitting myself. People going, there's nothing to do with your arm. I go, what? Do you not see the cast? Hello?
No, I think that's fair enough. I just wasn't expecting. I just thought it was a very safe fart. It wasn't even a fart that I was really paying attention to.
None of them are safe, Jonny. None of them. As soon as it gets out there, you have entered the corridor of uncertainty. That's why I fart once a week tops. I save it up and I do it.
Put a nappy on.
I put a nappy on in a room with cling film over all the walls and items. I take no risks.
That's why you've got the cling film room in your house. It all makes sense now.
That's why I've got the cling film room. Yes. Well, Jonny, I hope you're starting to feel better soon. I hope you're feeling... what are you doing to look after yourself? I mean, I imagine you as an ill person is not that different from you as a not ill person, just sort of slobbering about doing nothing.
I listened to 10 minutes before the podcast was meant to begin. I just listened to Taylor Swift, and it really perked me up.
Do you prefer Taylor Swift to who's the one you love? Chameleonaire.
Kesha Chameleonaire. I'm a Swiftie, baby. I love Taylor Swift.
Well, if you're listening, Swiftie, we'd love to get you on the pod. We'd love to unpack that big old brain box of yours. Yeah.
I think she's a lyrical genius. How are you doing, Sean?
Well, as listeners may or may not be aware, I am doing this from my bedroom at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, the world's greatest arts festival. I'm doing okay. I'm making it through. I'm getting up every morning. I'm howling at the moon.
Sounds like you're loving it.
It's fine. It's honestly, it's so Can you hear that siren, by the way?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's that then? Police, fire, ambulance?
Yep, all of them.
All of them.
It appears to be some sort of massive terrorist incident happening outside. Imagine if they just burst through right now and took me.
I'd shit myself.
Have I told you about my science fiction story that's about that?
No.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Have you written a science fiction story?
Yeah, it's about
Can I just say, is this real or?
No, it's real. Some people burst through the door. I was telling my other housemates here about it the other day. People burst through your door, just normal person.
Yeah.
Take you, put you in a portal.
Yeah.
So you go into like another dimension or like a time machine.
Yeah.
And they goes, "What have I done?" He goes, "You're Hitler's dad." In a few years, time travel gets invented.
Yeah.
You're going to go back in time. You're going to become Hitler's dad.
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, I won't. I'll never do that." And then that's what happens. He escapes and he.
And have you written this?
Mum. I've written it. I've pitched it around. Very muted response so far.
Can you put it on our Patreon for our Patrons to read?
Do you know what? I will put it on the Patreon. How about that?
I love that idea. And what's Hitler's mum like? Is she like a classy bird? Is she...
She's very matronly, I think. I think she's motherly to this poor man who's trapped in sort of early 20th century Austria.
And do you think the trauma of this man living in the 20... Like, does the man... How does the time travel work? Does the man who's in the 21st century go back in time knowing he's going to sleep with Hitler's mum?
I've not written the entire thing yet. I think he goes back. I think he goes back knowing that he won't and knowing that it's a lie, and then events conspire that he ends up doing it.
Oh my god, this is a genuinely brilliant sci-fi idea.
Do you think so?
I do. I really like it. I like the moral ambiguity of the main character going back in time to presumably like 1910 Germany or whatever, and worrying.
It wouldn't be 1910. It must be 1800s.
Well,
if it was 1910, then Hitler would have been 29 when the war started.
How old was Hitler though? He must be mid-40s. He's a very high achiever. He's a very high achiever. If he wasn't...
God. I'm looking it up, Johnny. I'm looking it up. Just keep the 5-star reviews coming. He was born in 89.
He was 46? God. What do you think you'll have done as much
when he tanked?
When you're 46? When he started the Second World War? 39?
No, he was born in 89.
Yeah, so that's 11 years...
So
he was 50. He was 50.
Yeah, it must have been 50, yeah.
What do you think you'll have done when you're 50? Do you think you'll have sort of begun the greatest war in history? I imagine so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where it's all heading, isn't it? I think that makes sense.
I'll be your sort of chancellor.
You'll be my Goering.
I'll be your Nadine Dorris.
I mean, that is telling of our current British government that we've gone Goering, Hitler, and Nadine Dorris, same sentence.
That's a really good book. I really like the idea. I love the idea because, in a way, it's sort of destined that he's going to give birth to Hitler, so it's not his fault. But what do the government want him to do when they abduct him? Do they want him not to go back and shag Hitler's mum?
Yeah, I mean, that's how I've written it. I've not written it. But,
You've not written it? I genuinely thought you'd written it.
No, I've written like the first couple bits.
Right, yeah.
A lot of sirens going. I mean, I'm worried that someone's about to burst in here and...
Imagine if you were Hitler's dad.
I'd love that.
I'd love it too. I'd love to be doing a podcast with Hitler's dad.
If I was Hitler's dad, I mean...
Let's do an act out.
Cards on the table. I think my sales would radically improve at this festival because it is a dogfight out there.
It would. I mean, not many people are going to say you're literally listening to Hitler's dad right now.
Yeah, but the problem is I think they'd all be focused on my balls.
Yeah, and
they'd
also
just be going, he's in there, isn't he? Old Adolf.
And also
Adolf is in there. He's in those.
It's mad that Hitler was in someone's balls, wasn't it? Like, Hitler was just a bit of sperm. He could have... I could have had... How many...
Do you know what, Johnny? It is mad that Hitler was in someone's balls.
How many fascists... Every time you have a wank, how many fascists do you think are in there? Like, how many potential fascists are in...
But also, how many,
how many
revolutionaries, how many Gandhis, how many Mother Teresas?
It's such an interesting question.
How many Greta Thunbergs are we? I mean, it is such an interesting question. That's the best thing about this podcast, is we ask interesting questions.
Because there must be a bell curve on sperm between, like, fascist dictatorships, between sort of just absolute middle-of-the-road sort of Nick Cleggs, and then, like, Starlings. So every time you have a wank, I'm going to think about that.
Look, let's be frank. There are only 3 types of sperm. Your Greta Thunbergs, your Nick Cleggs, and your Starlings. And you've got to look every day. You've got to look down there, and you've got to see what you want. If you don't like what you see, you've got to get out there, and you've got to make a difference. You've got to have more vitamin D. You've got to cycle less. You've got to get away from the Starling and get towards at least the Clegg. I mean, I'm a Clegg. I reckon it's Clegg mania down there.
Yeah, I think it's there's
Nick.
No way. You're 85% of your sperm is Nick Clegg.
I reckon I'm 85% Nick Clegg, probably 14% Hitler, and I reckon if I'm lucky, 1% maybe like a Marie Curie or something.
all the other sperms turn around and try and ostracize the Marie Antoinette sperm.
I think the culture war has been lost inside my testes. I think the far right has won conclusively down there. I think the unions have been crushed. I think global warming is happening.
Oh yeah, I mean your ball bags. They think American culture wasn't bad. Your ball bag is a cesspit. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. It's a one-party state.
Yeah.
Anyway,
God.
keep those 5-star reviews flowing in, listeners. We love doing this show. We know you love listening to it.
You certainly do. That's an interesting idea. Next time I have a wank, I'll definitely think about that. Maybe just before, just after.
I'd appreciate if you don't text me an update. But
for Merg, I'm going to say, come on, try and motivate the good sperm.
Oh God! I mean, the hard thing is, I'm now going to have to ask people to buy tickets for my show based on this. Please buy tickets.
How's it going? Are you happy with your show?
My show, I feel, the last 2 days has really bedded in nice.
Oh, that's good.
And I love the room, and I'm getting nice people in, and that's all that matters, I suppose. And it's just long, isn't it?
It is like
I've been here for a week, and I can't remember a lifetime away from this godforsaken hellhole of broken dreams.
Have you done it? Have you been in the Loft Bar?
I've had one late night, and I didn't even drink that much, and the hangover was so bad that it's really spooked me.
Was it as spooky as Slipknot?
It was a different sort of spook, I'll give you that. You know, it was as spooky, but not. It wasn't like I was worried that the hangover was going to burst into my room and take me away.
Is that what your worries with Slipknot? Do you think Slipknot is linked to the government and they're both going to take you away because you're Hitler's dad?
I want to make it clear, I've copyrighted this story, by the way, so any listeners looking to steal my story about this.
Do you think Hitler's dad was a good dad? And it was just like he gave birth to an evil kid?
I would assume
nature
not.
Or nurture?
I would assume not.
You think Hitler's dad was bad?
I think if he was a good dad, then life is way more random than we think.
Well,
I think if he was a good dad, then there's no point us funneling into systems or anything. There's no point having institutions if Hitler's dad was good.
Well, we can find... I guess it's a real nature-nurture thing, because if Hitler had a lovely childhood and then turned out to be a genocidal maniac, that's quite a good evidence for nature, isn't it? That he was just a little evil shit.
Well, the problem
presumably
is...
there must be some historical... Someone must know about Hitler's dad.
Unfortunately, there's absolutely no record of it. And there's no way for us to find out.
It's you.
Imagine if it was me. Now, look...
Right, Hitler.
Just shut the fuck up. Johnny, you have to shut the fuck up.
Let's do an act out. Let's do an act out.
Who am I?
You're Hitler's dad, I'm Hitler. I'm young Hitler.
You're Hitler.
Daddy, I hate everything. I'm not going to bed, and I believe we need more order in this world, and that people should bow to me and do a Nazi salute.
Okay.
Is that okay?
How old are you, son?
I'm 7. I've got big ideas and a little moustache.
Son, what can I say? I've given you everything you need, and yet you get so angry like this.
I'm an angry boy.
Okay, great act out. Look, you've got to keep those 5-star reviews rolling in. Here's what I would ask Johnny, though, and I'd say this genuinely. Hitler himself was a wannabe artist, was he not?
Yeah.
Who failed.
Yeah.
And it sent him mad.
Are you saying this could be your trajectory if Edinburgh doesn't go well?
I'd say if the boot fits.
If the SS boot fits.
If the SS knee-high fit boot fits. But I mean, you'd vote for me.
Sean, I'd vote for you whatever your policies were, because I love your charisma and I love your hairstyle.
All we need is a few more million like you, and we've got ourselves a World War III, baby.
I love the idea of sort of a Nick Clegg fascist. A fascist, but with no, like a sort of... Because, yeah, I love that.
What a totalitarian party state going, we're going to increase corporation tax by 1%.
Yeah, just the blandest.
As a levy for some more wind farms. Like,
Nick,
what? Yeah.
Nick Clegg's a real cunt, though, isn't he, now? He works for Facebook. I feel like Nick Clegg's done a real heel turn in terms of policy. If you don't know who Nick Clegg is, particularly internationalist is, he was a guy who ran for, like, the most centrist party in the UK and did quite well in, like, 2012 or something. 2010. And then it felt like he was quite a moderate, respectful politician. Now he works for Facebook, making them avoid tax and pretending they're acceptable.
Yeah.
Bad man.
Well, look, it's good money if you can get it, Johnny.
Well,
Are you trying to tell me you wouldn't take a job at Facebook if they offered you one right now?
The thing about me, Sean, is I've never claimed to be a good man. I'm a scumbag. I'm someone who, would vote for Hitler and shits in his pants.
Yeah, you shit yourself off an evening. You don't even check if it got into the pajamas. You just sleep it through.
No, I checked. I had a look. I had a rummage.
Rummage. All right. Well, look, listeners, genuinely, do come and see my Edinburgh Fringe show. I'm very happy with how it is.
I don't think we're coming up anymore, me and Sophie.
Oh, in that case, don't bother coming, listeners. There's no point.
I'm sorry.
Producer Paul's going to be there, aren't you, Paul?
Yeah, I'm coming this week.
This week? What's the day you want tickets for my show?
Wednesday, I think.
Bang on. I think I've got pressing that night. You better fucking laugh, Paul. I'll sort you out, Paul. I'll sort you out. Listeners, come on Wednesday. So come the day after this is released. And you can meet me and producer Paul. And I'll bring a life-size cutout of Jonny Pelham and you can have a hug with him. I
would love that too. Because do you think it would be like a situation where every time I got hugged, I'd feel the cardboard cutout of Jonny got hugged, I would feel some sort of emotional... Do you think what's is it like word? What are you implying? It's like a voodoo cardboard cutout? That is what. Cutout? Yes, yeah, that's one. Yeah. And do you think it is? Could you make it a voodoo one, please? I'd like the warm energy. I mean, I'm fascinated to know what their response would be. I'd like a cardboard cutout of this man, Jonny Pelham. Go, okay, that's weird. Yeah, life size. I need it by Wednesday. Yeah, for press. Can you? How much more is it to make it a voodoo cardboard cutout? Look, you just ask. They'll be like, what do you mean by? Oh, yeah, so he's Scottish. They'll be like, what do you mean by voodoo cardboard? And I'd be like, well, no, it's strange as a banana. They don't eat fruit up there. Yeah, but also the problem. Yeah, that's definitely their big thing, isn't it? They hate fruit. They hate the bloody English in my experience. They use swear words like punctuation. I've done comedy before. But. So wait, here's the problem. They go, what sort of voodoo do you want? I reckon it's either it goes all voodoo or no voodoo. So it can't be like, if you hug it, Jonny feels hugged. But also, once it's packed away for the evening, you're going to be feeling like, I feel like I'm trapped in a side closet next to loads of coat hangers. I already feel like that, Sean. Nothing will change. The only thing that'll change is the brief moment of hug, which I'll feel temporary joy. So if I kiss it, do you feel like I'm kissing you? Yeah. I feel, oh my god, I feel violated but delighted. If I take it into like a show, if I take it to see the Lady Boys of Bangkok, do you feel like I feel like I'm watching the Lady Boys of Bangkok? Yeah, and it's quite. Don't get me wrong, it's got some dangerous qualities because I'm neither here nor there. I'm in my house shitting myself, feeling good about it, and then suddenly I'm watching the Lady Boys of Bangkok. I don't quite know where I am. I mean, if you shit yourself, does that mean that the couple cutout shits itself? Is it a two-way voodoo street? God, this is very interesting philosophical place. I think. Can I say, Jonny? Yeah. I don't think it is that. I don't think it is that interesting. Do you know in improv when they always say yes and? Well, you've just not done that, have you? You've just said no. Shut up. I said no. Fuck. No, you said no and. Listen. I'm going to say yes and to the rest of this episode. I feel like I need to close my window. There's a lot of construction work. I hope it hasn't affected too much. The city is bustling, listeners. It's awash with a lot of men with ukuleles, which is a bit annoying, but it's fun. Should we do the main app, Jonny? Let's do that now.
And should we promote the Patreon quickly?
Yes, the Patreon is great.
Let me just close this fucking window. You just keep doing that. You talk about the Patreon.
So the Patreon, you can either pay £3, £5 or £10 a month. We have lots of cool things on there. You get a free stand-up special from me and a free stand-up special from Sean. You get lots of other things.
Extra content every week. You get. We respond to messages. We talk to people. We have fun, and yeah, that's it really. And also, you help support the pod, which is very much appreciated, so that we can keep making the podcast and you can keep listening to it. What can I say, Johnny? I think that was a really, really, really good sales pitch.
Succinct, to the point, and lacking in corporate yak. Once again, Failing Better reaches the stars.
See you after the break, everyone.
Bye. Welcome back to Failing Better, the second section. The best section we've ever done is coming up.
I appreciate that. I would also like to add something to the people who listen to that first section, which is if you do want to sign up to the Patreon...
Oh, I should have done that.
It's at patreon.com/failingbetter. Johnny gave you a long, strange rundown of the perks not in order of what I would view as the most appealing, but patreon.com/failingbetter. Support your favourite podcasters, get some extra goodies, and we are genuinely thinking of doing a director's commentary for Pride and Prejudice film. So if you'd listened to our last episode... was that 2 episodes ago?
That was 2 episodes ago. We are thinking we're going to do, next time we're in the same city together, we're going to have a few drinks and do our version of Pride and Prejudice with Vlad the Vampire. What's he called? Vlad?
Count Vladoff.
Yeah, we're going to do Count Vladoff, and we're gonna do how we'd put him into a Pride and Prejudice. So we're going to do a commentary over the top of Pride and Prejudice. That will be exclusive to Patreon members, and clearly something you should pay for.
It's going to be worth every penny in your bank account. Right, what are we talking about this week, Johnny? I think this is a very personal one for you. I feel very honoured to be included in this chat.
Well, this week we're doing a quiz to see if I have dyspraxia, which may seem a ridiculous way of determining whether or not you have dyspraxia, but actual tests cost £895, which is too much money for me to pay unless 300 more people join the Patreon. So I've started, I think I've got dyspraxia. I've realised it's sort of, but not, I mean, the problem is some people have dyspraxia so bad. Some people it's like, can you walk up a hill? And I don't want to brag or anything, Sean, but I can walk up a hill.
Okay. Is that genuinely true? Some people, is that a part of it? Some people...
Yeah. So I should say, if anyone does have dyspraxia, I really don't want them to feel that I am... I generally do think I have it, so I'm really not looking at it being like laughing at them in any way. But I don't think I have it to the severity of some people, but I do think I have it, and I do think it has impacted upon my life. So now I'm doing quite a quiz to see if that is true or not.
How do you think it's impacted on your life? Is it sort of reduced your chance of being a cricket fielder?
No, I'm quite good at catching, and maybe I don't have it.
Okay, so you're good at catching.
I'm good at catching.
Isn't that usually the first sign? You're not that good.
The first sign is
that you're not that good. I mean that you have dyspraxia.
I think it's like fine motor skills mainly. So I'm absolutely terrible at drawing. I'm like, it's unbelievable how bad I am at drawing. Like
Okay.
to the point where I'd always get in trouble because the teacher would just assume I wasn't trying. And I was like, no, I spent an hour trying to draw that orange.
Okay.
And he said, well, it looks like a banana. I said,
and how about podcasting? Do they say like if you're not a good podcaster, you probably are dyspraxic?
No, they say exceptional host. But they said your problem is if you've got dyspraxia, if you do a podcast, you're likely to partner up with a weaker colleague.
Do you know what, Johnny? That was. I think you really got some nerve saying that to me. Given what I am to this podcast and what I am to you. If you don't mind, my laptop's about to run out of battery. Plug it in.
You're the glue. You're the glue of the. I'm the horse. You're the glue. I'm dead, and you make it work.
Right, I'm back, baby. Okay, well, look, I'm very honoured. Do you think I might have it?
I don't think you do have it. Sophie says I have it all the time, but then she's quite mean, so it's hard
I think it'd be easy. I think it'd be easier to sort of judge what you don't have, Johnny.
No, that is true. You know when people say the problem with the 21st century is the millennials self-diagnose themselves without any medical knowledge, and how I imagine really frustrating that is for people who have those diagnoses. I'm definitely one of those people, without a doubt.
What do you think you've got? You must have. I mean, you must have HPV.
What is HPV? What is HPV?
It's a sexually transmitted infection.
Oh God, I don't know. I don't think I do have that because I'm quite.
I think HPV is if you've ever had sex, you have HPV.
Well, I still don't think I've got it. Hey, 4 more years. 4 more years.
Yes, we're back, baby.
We're back. I've never had sex, even though I'm in a long-term relationship. That's what it's like being married. Am I right, guys? A lot of my friends who have never had sex, they're all married as well. Come on.
You are listening to the home of witty banter. It is feeling better.
Yeah, men and women are different.
Seriously though, do sign up to the Patreon, listeners. We cannot stress enough.
What I've realised is this isn't actually a quiz. I should say, I was going to spend all morning trying to work out a way to do this, and then I've been too ill really to do it. But what I've gone on the NHS website, and they've got, if you have dyspraxia, it may affect, and then different things. So I just thought we'd talk about what these things and see if you I think I have. So it affects your coordination, balance, and movement. And I do fall over quite a lot. Have you seen me fall over, Sean?
I don't know if I've seen you fall over, no.
Do you, this is what interesting, have you noticed that I'm quite clumsy as a friend, or has that never become apparent to you? Now, if I hadn't said it.
I think I would assume that you're clumsy. But I'm very clumsy. I drop things a lot and stuff like that. Yeah.
Can I just say, so saying to someone, I'd assume you're clumsy, is somehow more profoundly upsetting. Saying there's no evidence to support this claim, but having met you, I sort of assume you fall over.
Right. Well, let's put it this way. Would you assume that I, Jonny Pelham...
Jonny Pelham?
Would you assume that I... not Jonny Pelham. Jonny Pelham...
What?
I'm like an elite athlete.
Oh, so you're asking me if I'd assume that you're elite athlete. Well, I think the thing is, Sean, that you've got such a wide gait that you must be good at sprinting or something. Because, I mean, you've got like a 7-foot advantage over any other human being on this planet. Like, isn't it?
Yes. I hope that this quiz not only says that you're dyspraxic, I hope it says you are so dyspraxic that you need to be thrown in prison. I don't know what that is, but they go, the police are on their way. They're taking you away.
Just me and
I get to
dad.
not do this fucking podcast with you anymore. Guys, I'm not that tall, all right?
No, I mean, you're not tall, but like, you did have a career for the Chicago Bulls, didn't you?
I just get on with the quiz. Imagine if I had a career for the Chicago Bulls. So I'm worth millions. I made millions every year. And yet here I am doing failing better with you.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Paul McCartney rang me up early and talked about whether he wanted to do a pod with me. But I said, right, Paul, okay. I'm too busy with Sean McLaughlin.
Okay, right, let's do another act out and I'll be Paul McCartney and you be you. All right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's see how this one goes.
Yeah.
Ring, 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 ring.
Hello?
Hello there, is this Jonny Pelham?
It is. May I ask who's speaking, please?
It's Macca. It's Paul McCartney.
Oh, Paul, I wasn't expecting you to call me.
Do you want to do a podcast?
I would love to do a podcast with you. I love your...
Because I've heard you crapped yourself. It's called Hey Pood. And it's all about people pooing.
How quickly did you think of Hey Pood? Is that why you decided to do
We could also do Sergeant Pooper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Revolver could become Revolta. We have plenty of options, Johnny, but you're quite a disgusting figure. I'd love to do a podcast with you.
Wow, Paul, that's really mean.
Crappy Road.
When did you become so mean, Paul? I always thought you were
a hard day shite. How about a hard day shite? Jonny, you're still on the end of the line.
I put the phone down. Yeah,
Wow.
it's quite,
I can see why you turned him down. He didn't seem like he seemed very pushy and very rude, actually.
He's a real bastard, Paul McCartney.
Yeah, he's a real piece of shit.
Wow.
Oh, well.
Don't even talk to me about shit anymore.
Don't say that in front of Johnny Pelham.
I get triggered by it now. If anyone mentions the P word, the S word, or the T word, I start shivering and feel ever so sad inside of myself.
All right. So anyway, let's
Do I
read
have
this article.
dyslexia?
Okay.
It says, your daily living skills, such as dressing or preparing meals. I am quite bad at dressing, and I am quite bad at preparing meals.
Definitely bad at dressing.
Who do you think's got a better fashion sense out of me and you?
Me.
I'd say you. I think yeah.
Me, and I'm not even joking. I'm
No,
looking slick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you think that's you, or do you think that's Alexa's influence? Is it you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all you.
That's all me, baby. I'm wearing a suit on stage at this Fringe.
That must be very hot.
It's actually fine because there's no one in the audience. But no, that's not a joke. I mean, that's not true. No, it's fine. Especially, I never know what to wear. I think I look shit all the time.
I think you are quite a handsome chap. I've said it before, I'll say it again.
I really appreciate that, Jonny. I was actually considered the most attractive of all the Chicago Bulls. MJ was livid. Me and Scottie Pippen used to go down the club and they'd all be looking at me, not the Pippo.
There were just six stacked black dudes and then 14-foot Sean McLaughlin.
Not 14 foot, am I?
Just
Would you even genuinely, there must be a maximum height on basketball. If you're 14 foot tall, they probably go, look, you can't.
And also it'd be really high if you were 14
Because I'd just pick the ball up and just put it straight in. I mean, it wouldn't even be sport, would it?
It also might be quite difficult because you'd have to. Because in my head you have your length arms, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I think it would be difficult because in many ways the sport would be so small for me.
But
So in many ways it would be so small. It'd be like Lilliput or something. Like I basically this basketball would become, for me, it's like trying to get a pea into a thimble. It's quite tough.
And you'd have such a bad back from bending over all the time. And also every time you bounce the ball, someone would be able to nick it really easily. Because you'd be more and more. I'm thinking actually that I can see where the Chicago Bulls dropped you as an amateur.
Yeah, it's a shame I never got that contract extension. I had a few trials at other teams, but unfortunately, their arenas, the roofs weren't high enough, and I couldn't even fit in them.
The Birmingham Bears turn you down. That's when you know you're struggling, isn't it?
Genuinely, the Brighton, when I was growing up, had a basketball team called the Brighton Bears.
Really?
And the manager, the coach of the Brighton Bears growing up, is now the coach of the Toronto Raptors in the NBA, and they won the title last year. I thought, what a mental career that is. Isn't that crazy?
Is crazy. For quite a long time in that anecdote, Sean, I thought you were going to say the coach was a bear. I swear to God, the way you said it, you were called the Brighton Bears. And the coach, genuinely, I thought, there's no way the coach isn't a bear at the end of this anecdote.
The coach he was a shaved bear. He actually got a pretty good points total. They signed Dennis Rodman for 3 games, the Brighton Bears.
Did they?
They signed him for 3 games, and then immediately next year were kicked out of the league because obviously there was something fraudulent about the way they paid him, and they said, right, well, you're not in the league anymore.
Have you watched the Chicago Bears? Is it Chicago Bears, whatever they're called, the Chicago Bulls thing?
Bulls. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's so good. It's so
amazing.
good. There's a Netflix doc that's worth watching if you've not watched it.
Yeah, The Last Dance.
The Last Dance.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Anyway, enough about that shit.
It says your ability to write, type, draw, and grasp small objects. Well, I was going to make a penis joke then, but I'm not going to do that.
You may not be able to grasp small objects, but you're able to grasp some pretty huge philosophical ideas, Johnny. Is that down there?
It's not down there, but maybe I'll write in and tell them. What do you think is... No, I was going to say, what do you think is the biggest philosophical concept? And then I thought, as questions go, profoundly stupid question.
Probably God, innit? And death.
Death. I think God and death. Yeah, and the meaning of life, I guess.
Big ones. Or how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? That's pretty big.
That's very big. And also you can empirically test that.
But what is a woodchuck?
A woodchuck is a small animal in Canada.
And do they chuck wood?
Yeah, they chuck wood.
And how much wood do they chuck?
Well, that's the question.
How long's a piece of string?
Yeah. How long is my penis?
Do you know what I liked about that, Johnny? For the minute you said the first word, I knew where it was going. The listeners knew where it was going, but you didn't know where it was going.
I didn't. I really didn't. I thought,
I knew where it was going. I thought there's not. He can't think of anything else.
I'm so shit. I'm such a poor human.
Got to keep these 5-star reviews. Genuine listeners, if you haven't given us a 5-star review yet, you genuinely have to.
And they have stopped a bit now, so
they have slowed down.
For a month, we've not got one. No one's given us a 5-star review.
Just give us a review, 5 stars. Come on.
Even if you've already given us one, just log on differently. Give us another one.
Fake it, you flippos.
Fake it! Look, we are all slaves to the algorithm, and we need your help in lying to the algorithm so we can become more successful.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Johnny, just talk about dyspraxia. So what's the next thing?
The next thing is how you function in social situations. I think I'm quite good in social situations. What do you think?
I don't know about that.
What do you mean?
I think you're pretty good in social situations, to be honest. I think you're the life of the party.
I
wouldn't say you ever know really what's going on. Like I go, like, what are you doing now? And you go, I don't know. But you're just sort of there with a pint. You're sort of a party animal in the kind of 80s Animal House style. Hawaiian shirt, always drinking, no idea where you've been or what's coming up next.
I do.
It's like going out for a drink with Dory. From Finding Nemo, you know what I mean? Like, there's literally no sense of a future or a past, but you live in the present, and I respect that.
No, I am pretty stupid, and I just forget everything. So, like, the amount of time Sophie has to remind me of the awful thing I've done the night before, and she could lie, she could gaslight. I'm so easily gaslit because I just can't remember.
Yeah, well, in that way, maybe you're hard to gaslight.
No,
that probably makes you harder because you go, all right, sure.
But I believe them, so they can tell me. They could be like, "Oh yeah, you met Barack Obama and said his policy in Yemen was a disgrace," and I'd be like, "Did I? Fucking hell, sounds like a wild night." like anything's possible.
You met Barack. I mean, I would love to know how that. Let's do it. I think it's act out time. It's Friday night. We're in the pub. I'll be Barack. You be you.
We're in Wetherspoons.
We're in Wetherspoons.
Bloody hell. I think initially...
Is that how you'd start it? Bloody hell, Barrack.
Yeah, bloody hell, Barrack. What are you doing here? What are you doing in Macclesfield Wetherspoons on a Friday night?
I'm doing a speech.
Who are you speaking to? The people?
I'm speaking to the local authority about planting more trees.
All right. Barack, you came to power in a moment of hope. I believed in you as a young man, and you made me believe that politics was a place where societal...
Son, I hope you don't mind me
Do not call me son. Do not call me son.
Son.
I do not play for Tottenham Hotspur. Why are you calling me son?
Sir.
Yes, sir, thank you.
I hope you don't mind me interrupting you, but have you soiled yourself?
Look, that's neither hither nor thither. I believed in politics. I was a young man. I thought you could change the world. What you did in Yemen is a disgrace. Look, I hope we can believe in. Yes, we can. You know what you could have done? You can stand up to the military-industrial complex, you piece of shit. Now get out of my Wetherspoons.
You make a very interesting point. I agree wholeheartedly with you. I wish I'd had someone with the brains and courage that you've shown in my administration.
Thank you. Now I need to go wipe my ass. But I'm glad I've been able to give you a talking to.
If I had $1 for every time someone who talked to me had to wipe their ass afterwards, I'd have $15.
Wow, that's quite unusual. What do you think that's about, Barack? Before I go to the toilet, let's get into this.
I suppose meeting a president or a former president is quite a scary experience for some people.
Imagine how embarrassed you'd be if you shit yourself and then had to meet Barack Obama.
But I am Barack Obama.
Oh, no, but I meant out of the skit. So
what? Yeah. Oh, that'd be rough, yeah. Oh, I'm with you now, Johnny. Yeah, that'd be rough.
You'd be like, God, I'm meeting... Because presumably it's like a planned event, it's a formal event. You don't just... Other than me, you don't bump into him on the street. So you're planning it, you've spent a long time getting your sort of everything ready. Then you've got a nice suit on. 2 minutes before you're shaking hands with him, you've gone for a fart, you've pooed yourself. You're not. I think you're not coming back from that.
I don't think you're coming back from that.
No.
I don't think you're coming back from that.
Yeah, you'd have to have very thick skin to poo yourself in front of Obama and still believe that you could be a decent human being, I think.
So, anyway, moving on from this, what's the next thing on the old form?
The next thing is how you deal with your emotions.
Well, this is an interesting one for you, Mr. Pelham.
Because I'm obviously dead inside, numb, and psychopathically calm in most situations.
Yeah. And what does it say about that?
It basically says that what Dyspraxia can give you is low self-esteem and a fear of doing things in public, which I definitely have. So this is one that's definitely true for me, where I will, if there's like a practical task, I just won't get involved with it because I feel like I'm going to make a mistake. So it's quite, obviously, and then that means I don't learn the skills because I don't want to make a mistake, so then I don't have the skills, and now I'm an adult who just can't do quite simple things.
Yeah, so I always struggled with that. I've got much better at it, I have to say. I'm much better at, I think it's a confidence thing as much as anything else. It is tough out there, though. It is tough. But most people don't laugh at you. That's the thing. Most people don't. It takes a while, but
I think maybe not even laugh at you, just get frustrated at you. Because the thing is, I can't do things which are like crazily simple to most people. So they can't understand like why I can't do it. Does that make sense? So
it's not. Can you give an example?
Like, genuinely, not that much anymore, because I just won't do things publicly that I'm like, so like if we're having like a fire pit, which I say that because 3 days we had a fire pit in my garden, I just won't go near the fire, even though it's just chucking wood on a fire, like anyone can do it, because I just worry I'll do it wrong, I'll chuck it at my friend, like I'll just make a mistake.
Yeah. I mean that those are two separate things, I think.
I'll bash my friend to death with it. I'll just make
You'll bash my friend to death. I'll murder a local cat.
Yeah, I'll beat a badger up. But so I think that would be an example of where like it affects me, where I just don't do. But and so now I just hire handymen to do everything, and they look at me like I'm scum every time. And obviously, I mean, I am naked playing Football Manager when I beckon them in.
Naked playing Football Manager, and I'm burying the body of my dead friend. But
build me a cupboard.
Build me a coffin, boy.
I call them all exclusively boy and don't let them have tea or coffee. Do you want tea or coffee? Yes. Well, you can go fucking Costa then, can't you? Go to Starbucks, you want a coffee?
Jonny, I hope you learn to get a bit more confidence and stuff like that. I mean, I know where you are with that. Sometimes I'm just like, I'd rather just not bother because I do think like I'll just get it wrong or people will shout at me. And the problem is, I am married to someone who often does shout at me because I do get things wrong, and it becomes a vicious spiral.
Yeah, Sophie's very critical, I'd say. I mean, she's quite a horrible woman, if we're honest, but she's got good qualities.
She's won a BAFTA.
She's won two BAFTAs.
She's won 2 BAFTAs.
Yeah, she won 2 BAFTAs, and she's demolished my self-esteem. Good woman. Good woman.
Okay, so far it sounds pretty dyspraxic, Jonny.
Dyspraxic John. Time management, planning, and personal organisation skills. I would say I'm one of the worst planners known to man. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at planning. Are you good at planning?
I think it is a shame that we're doing this podcast and I am the brains of the operation.
No, I agree with that 100%.
And I tend to be the one who's organised because I'm not the most organised guy in the world. But I would say that planning, you're quite... Well, as I say, you live in the moment,
Yeah, I live in the moment. I don't have a future me. Future me doesn't exist, and that is an issue.
That is an issue because he will
exist.
Because what you are now used to be future me.
Yeah, I wrote a joke about how I treat my future self like a twat, and it's exactly that thing. It's like I treat future me like a person I hate. And I just like...
Yeah. I treat future me the way that like a billionaire child treats like waiting staff and room cleaners and stuff. Yeah. I'm like, fuck it, someone else will do it. But there is no one else.
There's no one else.
There is no one else. It's me.
The amount of times I put off a task, thinking, well, I don't want to do that. And then 2 days later, it's just more urgent and I have to do it. And I'm like, what did I think was going to happen here? How did I think of this, this sort of... claim was going to go away.
What with the bailiffs?
Yeah, the bailiffs.
How is it? Are you allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, the bailiffs have been paid off, mate. All it needed was a bit of a phone call, a bit of a, you know what I mean? I just slagged off Baraka that day. I was feeling confident, and I said, listen here, you fucking mug. I'm not paying you anything. Get away from my garden.
Get away from my garden. I'm trying to kill a friend in there.
And that is why, look, if there's any... Look, we don't want to over push this Patreon thing, but if you want me to have a house, you've got to give a lot of money.
I've just realised I've not unsubscribed from the Patreon.
Great. That's free. That's £1.50 extra that I'm getting.
From me. But
Yeah.
that means I now can make requests. And I can now steer the... I mean, I don't know why I'm saying I can now steer the direction of this podcast, like I couldn't have done that anyway. But that's my self-esteem issue. I was like, oh, but I don't have a voice in this. I am...
Yeah. That is very funny. You're one of the founders.
I am one of the founders. I'm the CEO. I'm also
half the CEO.
I'm the caterer.
Yeah, you are the caterer.
And
you're delightful.
You're the mascot. You're the mascot.
I'd be a lovely mascot, I think. Sort of a hopeful figure who can unite different tribes of humanity.
That's just such a wonderful, warm, fuzzy feeling I get when I do this show.
Yeah. I never once think, God, this is shit, I hate myself.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
No, the opposite of that. Anyway, I'm going to have a shower after this.
Well, then let's wrap it up quite quickly. Jonny, I think so far you might have it.
I think I have
But
it
I don't
too.
know if you do. Maybe, who knows?
I don't know either. I think I do need to do a test, but it's £800. Do you think that would be money well spent, Sean? I genuinely.
I think if you're spending that and you don't have it, then it's not. If you have it, then it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you spend that and you don't have it,
yeah,
you go, well, then what is the point? But if you spend it and you do have it, but the thing is, if you spend it, you might be so desperate to have it that you'll act more like you've got it in the test.
Have you heard Harriet Camsley did the test? She's a guest on the show.
Oh yeah, didn't they stop the test after like 5 minutes?
But she fell in. She walked into a bucket.
Well, why was there just a bucket in the room anyway? That's the test.
I said that to her. I said to her that has to be the test because I've never been in a room with a bucket on the floor. And if you're doing a dyspraxia test, you don't put a bucket on the floor.
Medical procedure.
I think you're right. I think that had to be part of the test, that they put a bucket there and if you fall in, they're like, right, she might have it.
She ended up with a turkey on her head.
But I'm learning to drive, so I'm a bit worried about dyspraxia with driving because I might kill someone. Because I love Harriet, but every time I get in the car, I think I'm going to die.
Yeah, I agree. But you've been in the car with me. Did you ever feel you were going to die?
No, with you, there's a sense...
Taking away the fact that there were twice that I drove the wrong way down a one-way road and into traffic. Yeah.
With you, I think there's a sense you might just get angry at like a stranger on the street and drag them into the car and beat them up. And then I'd be like...
I don't think that I'd give that impression at all, Jonny.
No, but
and if you don't, if you want to agree, listener, you can listen to our episode where we have a road trip.
We do have a road trip. That was lovely, that, all the way to McCunliffe. Mm-hmm. I saw your show then, your wonderful show you're doing now in Edinburgh at the festival.
Yes. I feel like we've wrapped. I feel like things are dwindling here. What do you think, Jonny?
I think you might be right.
I think listeners, if we have any medical professionals who want to maybe diagnose Jonny, do email us, failingbetterpod@gmail.com.
It would be quite helpful. I am currently reading various books on dyspraxia, trying to work out how I have it, how it's affecting my life if I do have it, or whether I just need a bit more confidence and to have tried more things. So if anyone specialising in dyspraxia is dyspraxic or has a dyspraxic friend, then please get in touch with any information.
I have multiple dyspraxic friends.
Who else is dyspraxic other than Harriet? Harriet's the only one I know.
I know another comedian. I can't remember their name.
You don't know them, do they? If you don't know their name... I mean, you don't know that. You know another comedian. Oh, yeah, I'm good friends with him. Oh, what's his name? I've got no idea.
No idea. But I honestly, mate, I've had a lot of chats at this festival with people that genuinely, I have no idea who they are.
Oh, me too, all the time. I hate it. I hate it. It's the worst bit of Edinburgh is you go, and sometimes they're like, oh yeah, they ask really personal questions where you think, how the fuck?
Oh shit. They go, yeah, I loved it when I stayed at your house for 3 weeks. I go, I've got no memory of that.
That's the worst thing about Edinburgh. Again, Harriet does something really clever where she always walks with headphones in. So I'm going to take that tip 100%.
I always walk with an ice hockey mask and a knife.
You're so tall, people go, oh my God, why is a former Chicago Bulls player?
Chicago Bulls legend has taken up a different sport.
Knifing people.
Taking up hockey knives. Knifing people. It's a different sport.
Oh, God.
They're going to get him a spot on the Chicago Blades. That huge man is knifing everyone.
This is art. This is art.
It's not the Royal Mile for me. It's the Royal 100 metres. Because I'm so tall, it's to scale.
If you and Usain Bolt had a race, you'd have to make it fair, you'd have to do a mile and you'd have to do 100 metres.
If I ever raced Usain Bolt, I would literally just take one micro step. Yeah. I'd already have won the race. Like they bang it, and then I'd be at the end.
Your foot would be at 100 metres, and it's like, well, I'm already there.
I've already won it. I'm a size 10,000 foot.
And I just keep training, but I just can't beat this guy.
Oh God! Right. Thank you so much for listening to the show.
It's been a hoot. I've been ill, so if anything's been weird, let's move on.
I feel I'm just knackered already at this festival, but it's been nice having so many listeners that come into my show.
Have there been some?
So far, the total is 0. To my knowledge. So
they might not have wanted to. You don't talk.
They might not wanted to be associated with this show. I appreciate that.
But no one would, because you're not like standing back at the end, are you? Taking autographs.
Yes.
Are you?
And no one's asked for one.
I love that.
I stand by the door. I go, I'll sign any autograph you want.
I'll sign any autograph, any contract. You want me to your gardening? 20 quid.
If any of you need a guarantor, if any of you need me to sign a passport photo, no one.
Because it has to be like a doctor or a lawyer to sign your passport photo. There's nowhere. Yeah, comedian.
Podcaster. Cheers. Cheers, lads. Anyway, do genuinely give us a 5-star review. Subscribe to the show if this is your first time listening.
Come to Sean's show.
Go to my show. So be it. Edinburgh Fringe Festival, 7:55 Pleasant Courtyard, you slags.
You fucking mugs.
I'm sorry for calling you slags just now.
Listen,
it's going to be great, okay? It's going to be a great
the
thing.
show?
This show is already great, but do give us a bit of a review. And now we go behind the paywall, don't we, Johnny?
We certainly do. Behind the paywall to the play fun place.
Can you pull yourself together?
I'm ill, all right?
All right, and in the meantime, thank you. I'm Sean McLaughlin.
I'm Jonny Pelham.
And together, we still are...
Feeling better! Goodbye.
A podcast from producerpaul.co.uk.